SDH AM has Thursday thoughts. Wow, you put a headset on and everything just goes sideways. John, hear you there. Thanks for dropping by. I don't know why my clock says 9:07 and the rest of me says 9:06. So I don't know. Maybe this one's just a minute fast. Anyway, John, hear you there. Thanks for dropping by, as you always do. Creek Cup. Today, 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock, so a little before each hour, so like 5:55. What is up with the... It's like it decided to drift sideways on me all of a sudden. So I don't know. I'll have to fix the camera at some point. Anyway, 5:55, 7:55, or maybe closer to 8. It'll be Maddie and Drew at Johns Creek. I will have your coverage at Northview. Creek Cup today. Tournament starts. We'll have all of your action on the SDH network. Easiest way to go about and finding it is go to the website, soccerdownhere.net. Go into the listen section, and when we do have things that are up and running audio-wise, you have a couple different options. When you want to listen to the morning show or anything else that we produce and put out into the world, you can go in there and listen there. In addition to your favorite podcatcher and going to the YouTube channel and just queuing it up and listening to the audio. And when we have live matches on SDH 1 and 2, you can go to the listen section. And you'll sit there, and if something is live, you'll see a red light flashing. And so SDH 1 will have everything from Johns Creek. SDH 2 will have everything from Northview. And so that's how we're going to orchestrate Creek Cup simultaneous action Thursday, Friday, Saturday. 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock tonight, more like 5:55, 7:55. 5:55, 7:55 tomorrow, and then all day from both locations, it's going to be noon, 2, 4, and 6 on Saturday from Johns Creek on SDH 1, noon, 2, and 4 from Northview with me. And I think Drew is sliding over to assist me on Friday, and then I will be there with you on Saturday. So your rundown is, and I guess technically this is opening kickoff. So opening kickoff brought to us by our friends at Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. As I turn the page. We start your day with the most important stories in the game, and the right way to start your morning. Black Pitch Coffee, part of the SDH community, showing up at events all over Atlanta. Try their home blend made with beans from Brazil and Guatemala. Heavy-bodied with notes of walnut and semi-sweet chocolate and a rich world-class finish. Opening kickoff powered by Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. So here's your rundown of the matches. On Saturday, well, actually, I don't want to work backward because I'm not really working backward. So today, at Northview, it is going to be, as I sit here and look at it all. Okay, so Northview is going to have Kell and Campbell at 6 o'clock tonight. And then it is going to be at 8 o'clock tonight on the girls' side, Campbell and Northview. So it's going to be the Campbell Spartans matchups extraordinaire. That is going to be tonight at Northview. Tonight at Johns Creek, 6 o'clock on the girls' side, Dunwoody and Johns Creek. So the hosts will start things off there. And then at 8 o'clock, it'll be boys action with Chattahoochee and Carrollton. That's today. So Campbell, both at Northview. Boys at 6, girls at 8. Campbell playing Northview and the girls at 8 o'clock. 6 o'clock, it is Kell and Campbell. Once again, everything Northview, SDH 2. Everything on from Johns Creek, SDH 1. Now, tomorrow, Friday the 13th, no sense of irony there. It is 6 o'clock at Northview, Islands and GMC. This is an underrated matchup because you have Islands that have done really well on the coast, making runs into the playoffs last couple of years. GMC Prep, we know what they've been able to do in Class A. So interesting matchup here. And if you missed the conversation that we had with Kelly Bowler from Johns Creek, the organizer extraordinaire of this, trying to find those fun and different matchups, this is definitely one of them. So SDH2 tomorrow, 6 o'clock, Islands and GMC, followed by Tallulah Falls and Northview. That is your rundown at Northview tomorrow. Interesting note, if you missed it, Jeremy Steele, the head coach at Tallulah Falls, Also, the upper school dean is a Northview grad. Found that out yesterday. Parents still live in the district. He still has his Letterman jacket there at the house. Really cool stuff there. So if you missed Red Clay, the Red Clay soccer report, go back and listen or go back and watch. And that was part of the interview that we had with Jeremy Steele in Tallulah Falls. That's at 8 o'clock at Northview tomorrow. Islands GMC boys, Tallulah Falls Northview boys. That's tomorrow at Northview. Now, tomorrow at Johns Creek, Gilmer and Dunwoody. And we know what Coach Johnston has been able to build up there for the last handful of years. And we do have Gilmer on our schedule this season with the Calhoun match coming up next month. And so Gilmer and Dunwoody at 6, and then Lee County and the host Johns Creek at 8 o'clock. So that's your rundown for Thursday and Friday. Winners advance. Winners advance. Either you're staying at Johns Creek for the championship games, or you're going to Northview for the third place games on Saturday. All the third place matches are at Northview. All the championship matches are at Johns Creek. So that's your rundown for Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Creek Cup, 6 and 8, Thursday and Friday, both locations on the network at SDH 1 and SDH 2. Noon 2, 4, and 6 from Johns Creek on Saturday. Noon 2 and 4 from Northview on Saturday. So that's your rundown, and we start that activity today. It is Maddie and Drew at Johns Creek, and I will be at Northview, so that's the rundown for what we're starting with in earnest. First off, we want to thank our friends up at River Ridge for letting us broadcast Roswell and River Ridge to shake off our rust and our cobwebs back on Tuesday. Creek Cup is part of our ushering in of the season in full. And so we've got that today on the network on SDH 1 and SDH 2. So that is opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Black Pitch Coffee, blackpitchcoffee.com. We start your day with the most important stories in the game and the right way to start your morning. Black Pitch Coffee, part of the SDH community, showing up at events all over Atlanta. Try their home blend made with beans from Brazil and Guatemala, heavy-bodied, notes of walnut, semi-sweet chocolate, rich world-class finish. Opening kickoff, powered by Black Pitch Coffee and blackpitchcoffee.com. Now, morning Alex, and morning Abby, morning Ricky, morning David. So morning to all of you folks who are up and in early. And Alex, I'm hoping that the changes in atmosphere, going from sun to cold to cloudy and rainy, I'm hoping that it is not affecting your bionically repaired limbs a great deal, and that hopefully everything is okay. Just like I said, daily affirmation. We love you very much, and hoping that the recovery is rolling along as it should. All right. Yesterday, Atlanta United got the win in Dallas against Red Bulls as they are continuing in the Torneo de Tejas. I am this close to always saying like tornado, the Tornado de Tejas. And it might be a Tornado de Tejas the way things have been going so far. And it was, it was back and forth match, and you end up with Atlanta getting the Duke reminder. Dominic Chongqui expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks. And that is an MCL sprain suffered back on the weekend when they were in Houston, taking on the Dynamo at Hell in a Shell. Removed after 55 minutes, I believe, if memory serves, from our friends at Bayou Pro Soccer. So DCQ out for 4 to 6 weeks, and obviously we'll keep an eye on that. But yesterday, defeating Red Bull 3-2 in the second match in the tournament. Latte Lot scores his second goal of the preseason, second half comeback for Atlanta United. Red Bull's new DP signing, Jorge Rubalcaba scored in the 17th. Julian Hall scored in the 36th. Dos Santos getting the assist. And own goal. Had a very, very busy day for Atlanta United. 2 own goals in 2 minutes for Red Bulls. And so Atlanta United getting back into the match with own goal being your leading scorer yesterday. 2 goals in 2 minutes. Tied at 2, and then Latte Lot scored with about 14 to go. Assist to Sabalob Janidze. And it's 3-2 with the win for Atlanta United over Red Bulls. Alexei Miranchuk was not available for the match. Remains day-to-day. Aren't we all? Atlanta improved to the preseason to 2-0-1. Your starting lineup yesterday was that Jaden Hibbert goes the full 90. It was Ronald Hernandez and Mihai, Stian Gregerson, Matt Edwards. That's your back four. Thomas Jakob playing more in that midfield advanced role. Tristan Muyumba, Will Riley, your midfield 3. Trialist got to start it forward. And Trialist was paired with Luke Brennan and Cayman Togashi. The subs at the half, Trialist was subbed out for Miggy. Saba subbed in for Luke, and Latte Lot subbed in for Cayman Togashi. In the 63rd minute, 3 subs, Barakal for Mihai, Alzate for Tristan, and Cooper Sanchez for Will Riley. Toto Majub comes in for Ronald Hernandez for the final 14 minutes, and Adrian Gill comes in for Tomas Jakob for the final 11. Lucas Hoyos, Aiden Torres, Santi Pizza were available and did not play. For New York, fire wagon change for Red Bulls in their matchup. So here's how it started. John McCarthy in net, 4 at the back, Matthew Dos Santos, Dylan Nealis, Justin Che, and Jaquil Marshall-Ruddy. Your midfield 3, Adri Mehmedi, Ronald Donkor, and Emil Forsberg. Forwards, Ruvalcaba, Tanner Rossborough, and Julian Hall. That worked for the first 45 minutes. Then you end up with backline, Omar Valencia, Tim Parker, Robert Volader, and Dennis Genjar. Midfield, Gustav Berggren, Andy Rojas, Navwin Benedetti, and your forwards, Cade Cal, Rafa Mosqueda, and Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting. There will be a test later on. So New York uses everybody. Atlanta used everybody but 3, and Lucas Hoyos, Aiden Torres, and Santi Pizza. So on the back of 2 own goals, and Latte Lot with 14 to go, Atlanta United gets the win 3-2. They're going to face FCD to conclude Torneo de Tejas, and that is going to be this weekend. I believe it's a noon start. Noon or 1, one of the 2. And I always get my time zones confused. So one of those 2 time slots, so early afternoon, Eastern time, Atlanta United is going to take on the hosts FCD. The match is not streamed. That we did get information for. So it is not going to be streamed. So keep an eye on your favorite social medias and find out where things lay out with Atlanta United taking on FCD on the weekend on Saturday. And then they will have some total of 7 days to get ready for the season opener at TQL against FC Cincinnati. Also yesterday, news came out that it looks like Lionel Messi might be unavailable for the season opener, nursing a hamstring injury that he's picked up during their preseason tour. Obviously, we'll keep an eye on that. LAG picked up an international slot for Austin FC. Don't quite know where international slot is going to be applied to Greg Vanny in the lineup, and it was picked up for $240,000 in a GAM for this year. International slot will return to Austin at the opening of the secondary transfer window. So basically, LAG is borrowing an international roster slot until the summer window. Hey, can we borrow this? Literally, it's like you gotta, it's like the old record that you had. It's like, hey, can I borrow this? Can I borrow your car? I want to borrow your car. I want to go down to the corner because I got to go pick up some things at Home Depot, and my car can't fit everything. So can I borrow your car for an afternoon? And you say, sure. And then you put, gas in the tank or whatever. You make sure the car's not scuffed up or anything and that you don't wreck. Basically, this is what this sounds like with LAG. LAG needed a bigger car. And so they go to Austin. Austin. Can I borrow your car for a couple of months? Austin's like, sure. What's it worth to you? About $240,000 in GAM. Okay, that'll work. Can we get it back? Can I get my car back? Yeah, sure. I'll get your car back to you later this afternoon. Yeah, I just need to move some things. I need to move some things to the storage locker, get some things from a storage locker, and get them to the house. So LAG basically is borrowing Austin's car until the summer window. And literally there is a date, the opening of the window, July 13th. The secondary transfer window opens, LAG is giving the car back to Austin. We need to borrow a car for $240,000 in GAM for the sum total of 5 months. Okay. Austin's like, yes, sure. Good for Austin. You get $240,000 in GAM out of the deal. And they need all the GAM they can get, frankly. Considering they were under 3, I think. They were at the bottom of the barrel when it came to available Garber bucks. And so they need all the help they can get. And if it means loaning out your car for 5 months, you're going to do it. Don't know. So Jaden Hibbert was in net for Atlanta yesterday. And he played the full 90. Hoyos was available, did not play. And the identity of the trialist has not been identified. Current trialist, anyway. So the trialist used yesterday in Dallas was the unknown trialist. Unknown trialist. And I don't think that the unknown trialist played with a paper bag over their head for the full 45 minutes. But unknown trialist. Unknown trialist was there. Yeah, and Abby saw that Greg Garza has been doing the Leagues Cup tour, and he's down in Mexico discussing things, and it appears that there is going to be, if they can get all of the I's dotted and T's crossed here, that it looks like it's going to be Leagues Cup, and they're going to be playing some Leagues Cup matches in Mexico this go-round. So they're getting all of the logistics squared away, but it appears, and with Greg Garza down there, it is down in Mexico doing the media junkets, and news came out that, it looks like it's going to be Leagues Cup matches being played in Mexico as a part of this. So yesterday, news came out, Lizzie Bescherano over the four-letter, finalizing details to have Mexico hosting certain matches in the upcoming edition of the tournament. And Phase 1, according to Lizzie, kicking off on August 4th, all Liga MX teams and the 18 qualifying MLS clubs. Format's going to be the same. All 54 League One Phase 1 matches set to be played. According to Leagues Cup rules, you get the top 4 clubs in each league's table placed in a fixed bracket to compete in these single elimination knockout rounds, beginning with the quarters, featuring only MLS versus Liga MX. Pairings determined on each team's performance in the first round. Upcoming edition maintaining the no draws format, meaning if you're tied at 90, you go straight to PKs. Final played on September 6th. Champion and the additional top 3 finishers, if you haven't qualified in other ways, you get a spot in the Triple C in 27. So Seattle won in 25. Remember what happened up at Lumen, and they beat Messi and friends in the final. So it looks like, if they can get everything all organized, looks like Mexico may be hosting certain matches of Leagues Cup. So about time, and I think that it'll be really cool to see that go down the way that they are hoping that it will. The Messi and Friends friendly, with Independiente del Valle in Puerto Rico has been postponed for 2 weeks after Messi sustained a muscle strain in his left hamstring during the last preseason game against Barcelona on the weekend. Kicked off the match against Barcelona, left in the 58th, and the injury once again gives doubt on the opener at the Mausoleum. Now, this I did not know. The LAFC and Messi and friends are going to kick off the season at the Mausoleum, the LA Memorial Coliseum, February 21st. So they're going to shift the match, and it is going to be 7 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock local, and it's still going to be in Bayamon against Independiente del Valle. So Messi did not participate in training on Wednesday. Gradual return depends on the clinical and functional progress in the coming days. So now it is going to be February 26th instead of February 13th, and the friendly will be held after the start of the 26th season. So 5 days in, after the matchup in Los Angeles against LAFC, this friendly is still going to go down in Puerto Rico. I don't know what the Herons lineup is going to look like, but you're going to have Messi and friends on the 26th taking on Independiente del Valle in Bayamon, Puerto Rico. So that's what that one looks like for hanging on to so that's what that looks like when you're going to hang on to that friendly, and it's still going to have an audience in Bayamon, Puerto Rico. You don't want to disappoint the fans that have invested their money there, but it's going to be after the beginning of the season. So we'll keep an eye on that as we go. So, all right, getting into the news and things here in hour number 1. Once again, remember, coming up at 10 o'clock, we get taunted with desserts by our buddy Nino Torres and find out what's going on from Nino Damas in South America and Portugal, and we get our World Cup Chronicle. 10:30, it is going to be our buddy Niko Moreno from Pulso Sports and Sounder at Heart. 11 o'clock, Kelly Shouldice is going to be joining us from the Northern Super League, and we get to find out what life has been like building something from scratch. We get to find out what that's all about at 11 o'clock Eastern time. So we go added time today, and we find out about the Northern Super League, and we get you ready for Creek Cup after that. And so very, very busy day on our part as we kind of carry you through everything. So yesterday, CONCACAF. We've got to get into the NWSL. We've got to get into the big transactions there. Kansas City, very, very busy. Very, very busy. Very, very busy. So Kansas City was very, very active, and there are local ties. And so we will try and track down said local tie when we are looking at tracking down interviews of the future. So tonight, Cruz Azul, tonight, well, we're going to make it right. Cruz Azul, massive favorite against Vancouver FC. They are, after winning the first leg in Langley, BC last week 3-0, a minus 1667 favorite. Basically, don't even touch it. Cruz Azul's 3 goals to the good. They're at home tonight taking on Vancouver FC. Draws a plus 981 in the composite. Vancouver FC, if you are so interested and or inclined, grab the smelliest, nastiest juice box in the back of your fridge. Plus 2309 to win the match, not to win and advance into the round of 16, but win this matchup tonight. It is an 8 o'clock kick, and Vancouver FC is a plus 2309. I'm not kidding. Last night, you had the 2 matches, and it was Monterrey shutting out Chelaju 2-0 at Monterrey at a minus 1250. Monterrey took a little bit of time, but it was pretty much looking like it was going to be over at the break, and it was. 3-1 in the aggregate. Monterrey advances, and we bid adieu to the Los Super Chivos, the Super Goats. Thank you for dropping by, and we love your education. Then Club America and Olimpia goalless draw last night. That one was a plus 486 if you went that way. Club America was a minus 455 on the night. Olimpia north of plus 1,000. But if you picked the 90-minute draw option at a plus 486, you came out pretty good. And so first leg 2-1, stayed the same. Club America advances, and there you go. So the left-hand side of the bracket is kind of working its way through. Toluca is going to be taking on San Diego FC in the next round. Mount Pleasant is going to be waiting for the winner of LAG and Miguelito. Then it is Cruz Azul, probably, taking on Monterrey in the next round. Alajuelense had seeded through. They're going to get the winner of LAFC and Real España. Messi and friends waiting for the winner of Nashville SC and Atletico Ottawa. Club America getting the winner of Philadelphia Union and Defense Force. Tigres, after knocking off Forge, is going to get the winner of FC Cincinnati and Universidad O&M. Seattle is going to get the winner of Vancouver and Cartagenes. So that is that's your rundown of the brackets in the round of 16 in CONCACAF. And so you've had some teams seeded through, and we will wait and find out what it looks like. But anticipate, if you would, please, Cruz Azul taking on Monterrey in round number 2. And let's see, who else was left on the board? That one's the only one left on the board. But, yeah, so that's the one that's remaining. But just anticipate in round number 2, Monterrey and Cruz Azul in the Triple C in the CONCACAF Champions League. So once again, since we mentioned what's going on tonight, I'll go ahead and get into what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. And that's brought to us by our friends at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. That link is important. Very, very important. Very important, as I say. How important is it? Well, helps them, helps us, helps you, adding more matches to everything you're already watching. With Fanatis, you get all the be-ins. And I mean, that means you get everything from South America that they have. You get the Polish League, the French League. You get all of the African competitions on the continent. Right now, they're in the CAF Champions League. You get that. You get a lot of different divisions in South America, Panama, Paraguay, Colombia. It is Uruguay. You get Argentina. You get the Copa Argentina from our friends at TEC, which is going on right now. All of that. You get TVV if you want to add Venezuelan programming like Summer League, Winter League Baseball. You get CDO, and it's all in one place at fntz.co/soccer down here. One subscription, one home, and it is there for you. Now, what's today? You get the one matchup in the Premier League, and we'll get into the Premier League coming up after we talk about what's going on today. You have Libertadores at 7:30, being in Espanol. It's something else that you get with Fanatis. Universidad Católica and Juventud. You get Mexico and Trinidad and Tobago in the what? No, that's not the Champions Cup at 6 o'clock. That is U17s. So U17s is Mexico, Trinidad, and Tobago at 6. Brentford and Arsenal is on USA at 3. BN Español simulcasting Libertadores. Fox Deportes has the Honduran League with Marathon and Platense. Cruz Azul and Vancouver FC is on 2 to NA. And that is at 8 o'clock. Universo is simulcasting Brentford and Arsenal. Fox ONE is simulcasting the U17s and the Honduran League. Peacock is simulcasting the Premier League. Women's action. CBS Sports Network has, and also Paramount Plus, Women's Champions League, Wolfsburg and Juve at 12:45. Atletico de Madrid, Manchester United at 3. Simulcast also on ESPN Deportes, and that is it for today. Once again, at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. Nottingham Forest is chasing after their 4th manager of the year. Why do I feel the more that we're getting into the discussion about what's going on at the bottom of the Prem that Nottingham Forest is probably going to get relegated? When you don't beat Wolves, then Evangelinas Marinakis is not a happy man, and they sacked Sean Dyche after the match yesterday. So that now means that they are chasing after their 4th manager of the year. Late night, so about dinner time, our time. And they're looking at Vitor Pereira because they're still in the Europa League. They're in the knockouts in the Europa League. And they wanted to have someone of experience and advantage coming in to take over for Sean Dyche. And so Pereira worked under Evangelinas Marinakis at Olympiacos. So the relationship is there. No. It's like taking the gig at Wolves. Why? And when I'm discussing this with the two teams that played yesterday and a goalless draw, literally you go from Nino to Ange Postecoglou, who lasted 40 days. Sean Dyche comes in, which was more stylistically like Nuno. And then you have that go down 114 days. 114 days. 114. So you go from the start of Nuno to 40 with Ange and 114 with Sean Dyche. Yikes, people. Not looking good for Nottingham Forest. All apologies to our friend Poppy Miller up at Paramount Plus and CBS. Dyche lost only one of his final 6, but he had a strained relationship with the squad, according to The Guardian, bore the brunt of the fans' displeasure during the draw with Wolves on Wednesday. It's a goalless draw. You had opportunities. You did not score. Goalless draw with Wolves. Evangelinas Marinakis had had enough. Fans had had enough. Players had had enough. You're not losing, but you're not winning. It's understood that Forest have held talks with Pereira, who's out of work after being dismissed by Wolves in November. 11 months at the Molineux kept him in the Prem. And now Forest are eager to get someone, according to The Guardian, find someone with great man management skills, more akin to those of Nuno Espirito Santo, who is popular with the players. So now you've gone from players coach to hard ass, who played in a 180-degree different style, to hard ass that played more like the style, and now you're looking for a players coach. Pereira will have a week to get ready for the matchup with Fenerbahce next Thursday. They don't have a fixture this weekend after being knocked out of the FA Cup. Remember, this is an FA Cup weekend. So nothing in the Prem this weekend. You've got just that one. I think you have the Arsenal match, I think, this weekend, and that's about it on a quick turn. So right now, Forest 17th, 3 points from safety after match day 26. West Ham is at 24 points. Burnley with their win over Crystal Palace. Keep an eye on Oliver Glasner. Is now 9 points from safety, and Wolves have 9 points on the year. They are creeping toward not becoming the worst team ever in the history of the Premier League. But you are now, if you are Nottingham Forest, you're chasing after your 4th manager of the year. I don't quite think that is a recipe for success. Brentford and Arsenal, by the way, today. Arsenal at the G-Tech a minus 152, draws a plus 286, Brentford a plus 437. Arsenal then starts everything back up after FA Cup weekend on next Wednesday at Wolves. Prohibitive favorite there, understandably so. Top of the table versus the bottom. So Arsenal playing 2 matches in the next window. 3 points clear of Manchester City. If everything evens out by the end of next weekend, they'd be back to 6. Villa's at 50 points, and that's your lead group. Then here comes the chase group. Manchester United at 45, Chelsea at 44, Liverpool at 42. Brentford at 39 points. Then the fun begins. Technically, you could say it begins with Brentford at 39. Everton is 8th at 37, ahead of Bournemouth by 1 goal on goal difference. 36 points. Newcastle snapped a 3-game losing streak last time out. Sunderland has now lost 3 of 4, and I think, like I said, I think they've regressed back to the main a little bit. Great start for them, but they're now behind on goal difference to Newcastle, but they're still at 36 points. Fulham's lost 4 of 5. They're at 34. Crystal Palace has hit each column once in their last 3, losing last time out. And they are at 32 points. Brighton's at 31. Keep an eye on Fabian Hertzler. They've lost 3 of 4. Leeds is 15th at 30. Spurs losing 2 in a row, sacking Thomas Frank. 29 points in 16th. Forest at 27. So technically, if you want to go from 8 at 37 points to 15th, you're looking at 8 teams separated by 7 points, and technically 9 teams separated by 8 if you include Spurs. So 8 to 16 is a jumble. 8 to 16 is a jumble right now. Ange Postecoglou, when he was asked about Spurs, he's not a fan. He says that Spurs are not a big club. They're not a big club. Once again, he leads them to winning the Europa League, finishing 5th in the first campaign back in 24, missed out on Champions League. He wanted to strengthen the squad in the summer of 24, according to David Heitner at The Guardian. Couldn't land a whole lot of the players he wanted. They added Dominic Solanke and 3 teenagers, Archie Gray, Lucas Bergvall, and Wilson Odobert. So on overlaps, stick to football. Thomas Frank had been sacked a couple of hours before Ange walked in the door. So on overlap, he goes, how do you go from 5th to really challenging? Well, we had to sign Premier League ready players. But finishing 5th that year didn't get us Champions League. We didn't have the money, so we ended up signing Dom Solanke, who I absolutely really keen on. I really like him, and 3 teenagers. I was looking at Pedro Neto and Mbumo, Semenyo, Mark Gahey, because I said, if we're going to go from 5th to up there, that's what the other big clubs would do. Those three teenagers are outstanding young players, and they'll be great players for Spurs, but they're not going to get you from 5th to 3rd and 4th. When you walk into Tottenham, what you see everywhere is to dare is to do. That's the club motto. And yet their actions are almost the antithesis of that. I think they didn't realize that to actually win, you've got to take some risks at some point. I felt like Tottenham as a club were saying, quote, we're one of the big boys. And the reality is, I don't think they are. That's what Ange said on overlap. When Arsenal need players, they'll spend 100 million pounds on Declan Rice. I don't see Tottenham doing that. But it's not the transfer fee. It's the wages to really attract. I mean, when was the last time that Tottenham really signed somebody who you go, wow? Postecoglou tried to confront the issue of the collective mentality in early weeks of last season with the I always win in my second season at club quote. Got the Europa League final against Manchester United. And he knew, as he put it, at the end of January, early February, he was going to be dismissed. It's put to Postecoglou that the problem was nobody actually believes Spurs will win trophies. And he replies, it is. Look, Spursy. 100% there is. That was the thing I was trying to break. My whole statement about winning things in the second year, I was doing that for the club because no one internally would dare say that because they were just scared. I even remember on the morning of the Europa League final, Daniel Levy came in. We had a coffee. Only thing he said to me, which was bizarre as a motivational point, was something like, I've been in 7 semifinals and finals, and we haven't won one. But I know why he said that, because of that mentality. So you've got that. That does exist, absolutely. Then you break that by winning something, and what do? You tear it all up and you go again. What are you trying to achieve? The biggest thing you had hanging over you is the Spursy tag. Asked about Thomas Frank, he says, you know that he can't be the only issue at the club. It's a curious club, Tottenham. It's made a major pivot at the end of last year, not just with me, but with Daniel leaving as well. You've created this whole sort of environment of uncertainty. No guarantee whichever manager you bring in. They've had world-class managers. They haven't had success. And for what reason? Thomas was walking in, and what's his objective? What's the club's objective? If you're going to do such a major pivot, you got to understand there's going to be some instability there. Did Thomas know what he was walking into that? I don't know. Thomas Tuchel has signed a contract extension to stay as head coach until 2028. Was due to finish after the World Cup, and now he wants to lead the team into the Euros that is co-hosted by England. Tuchel took over in January 25, and so regardless of what happens, even if it doesn't come home, Thomas Tuchel is staying as the head coach of England after having originally signed an 18-month deal. Tuchel's understood to feel the chance to manage England at a tournament co-hosted with Wales, Scotland, and the Republic of Ireland is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and the FA was keen to ensure continuity before that event, dampen any speculation linking him with the club jobs that are out there. Statement from Tuchel. And so Thomas Tuchel stays. Anthony Berry, Enrique Ilario, Niko Meyer, James Melbourne have also signed new contracts through the summer of 28. So Thomas Tuchel, Tommy Too Cool for School, is staying as the man in charge in England through the 28 Euro. So also yesterday, Manchester City, they were up 3-0 at the break and looked like Erling Haaland was kind of feeling not 100%, so they pull him off at the half. Really didn't make a whole lot of difference. So the quote is that he had a few niggles. Just a couple of things to keep an eye out for. And because of that, let's see, routine eggplant. I don't know. Are eggplants even routine? Routine eggplant and symbols that don't make any sense. So we have blocked the routine eggplant. I've never was a fan of eggplant. When my mom would try to have us eat, healthy food, and I mean like healthy food, she tried to have us eat eggplant once. And she tried to, mask everything, and it didn't really work. So, not a fan of eggplant. Report has been reported, and routine eggplant, you're on the clock. Routine eggplant. Eggplant is never routine. Maybe that's why it got past all the censors when it came to Twitch. Interesting stuff out of the NWSL. Kansas City, we mentioned Kansas City being very, very busy. Very, 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 very busy. Yesterday, Washington, in turn, being very, very busy. They get Croy Bethune, 2024 Midfielder of the Year, Rookie of the Year, from Washington. Current sending $900,000 in intra-league transfer funds. So almost straight cash, homie. It's $1 million deal. $100,000 in Berman bucks, $900,000 in cash to Washington. Contract runs through 27. So big play for Kansas City, getting serious all over again. Bringing in Croy Bethune, and you get an attacking midfielder there. Pride of North Fulton County went to USC. University of Georgia in 23, 4+5, all second team All-SEC, second team All-America. Bulldogs conference title there. So basically $1 million deal to send Croy Bethune from Washington to Kansas City, but Kansas City was not done on the day. They traded Claire Hutton to Bay for $1.1 million in intra-league transfer funds. So this was a straight cash homie deal. So Claire Hutton goes to Bay for 1.1. They bring in Croy Bethune, sending 900 to Washington and then 100,000 in Berman bucks. Hutton joined the Current in December 23 as a 17-year-old through the U18 entry mechanism. Finalist for both NWSL Rookie of the Year, U.S. Soccer Young Player of the Year in 24. 2 assists in 25 matches, starting 22. NWSL Best 11, finalist for NWSL Midfielder of the Year. So Claire Hutton to Bay, Croy Bethune from Washington to Kansas City. Big moves in the NWSL yesterday. News from the Current coming out as of 10 minutes ago. They're going to be hosting the Netherlands, the training facility for the Current. They're going to be hosting the Netherlands in Riverside, Missouri for 2026. There is a list that is out of who is where so far. Not everybody has picked their where yet, but there is a growing list. The 2 Atlanta sites still do not have names attached to them, but I would anticipate that at least one of them is going to be going to Uzbekistan, considering that Uzbekistan is using, through our sources, we found out that Uzbekistan is staying in Atlanta with the hotel. The time here, I know the hotel. I'm not going to be like the Spanish national team when they announced they were going to Chattanooga and the Baylor School and say the hotel that they're going to be staying at. I do know that Uzbekistan is staying at a local hotel in the time they are here. I'm not naming the hotel. So my guess is that while they are here, they will be using one of the 2 facilities. So that's the quick news involving what's going on with homes and things, with the World Cup coming. Wow, I mean, the World Cup, we're like at 120 days. 120 days before the World Cup is coming. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Also on the board, stuff that you might have missed. We mentioned Real Madrid and UEFA and the Super League. They've announced in principle that they agree that we're not going to do this anymore. But until the paperwork is signed, the Super League in name still does exist. No movement toward it, movement away from it, but nothing is signed. So just kind of keep an eye out for that. Forgot to mention yesterday, Wataru Endo was injured, and I don't know what it is with the backs at Liverpool, specifically the right backs. But Wataru Endo, according to Arne Slot, could be out for a very long time. Joe Gomez just coming back from injury. They had to have him come in and fill in for Endo when Endo was injured with about 30 to go yesterday. Copa del Rey semis, Real Sociedad wins at Athletic Bilbao. Copa Italia, Lazio eliminates the defending champ Bologna after a 1-1 draw, winning in the shootout 4-1. DFB Pokal, Bayern Munich gets to the semis, first time in 6 years, 2-0 win over Leipzig. And let's see, what else? Did you see this? BN won the bid for the France World Cup in 26. The French broadcast rights, go to BN. Reported resignation plans from Ligue 1 Plus exec Nicolas de Tavernost. FIFA sources framing it as a standard rights process where the strongest commercial offer won, and said that PSG president Nasser Al-Khelaifi was not involved. Let's see. Copa Argentina was last night. Gimnasia beat Central Cordoba, 2-2 penalties. Gimnasia de Jujuy and knocking off Central Cordoba last night. Once again, you can get that at Thanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. So you like your cup competitions. You got to see that on the TIC last night for a big win for the small club. We like those things. We like the chaos. We like the chaos, and we like all of the added fun that's attached to it. So let me try and see if there's anything else that I might have missed this morning. Getting into all of the things before we get into gossip, rumor, and innuendo, and our buddy Nino Torres joining us in about 10 minutes. And we will go through everything else that is on his mind, because once again, I don't know what's on his mind. Nino Damas has an idea, and we are going to get our World Cup Chronicles. What his story is, I don't know, but it's always a fun story when we find out what is going on in his mind when it comes to everything and the advancement of the league and the World Cup and getting ready for the World Cup coming up here. Wow, 4 months. Less than 4 months, really. So 4 months, you're about 120 days out. Dig it, dig it, dig it. It's always fun. Like I said, I'm scanning and seeing if there's anything else that I missed. Getting into gossip, rumor, and innuendo. Once again, you're looking at summer windows and things like that. Bayern Munich targeting a move for Brighton's keeper Bart Verbruggen in the summer. Chelsea set to rival Bayern for Verbruggen, but will match Brighton's £50 million valuation. Manchester City defender John Stones looks set to leave the club when his contract expires. Bayern Munich showing interest. Atletico de Madrid exploring a move for Marc Cucurella. Fichajes. Villa are interested in Nottingham Forest's Morgan Gibbs-White, but Forest could command a fee of £65 million for the 26-year-old. Dortmund keen to tie Germany defender Niko Schlotterbeck to a new contract amid interest from Real Madrid. Spurs have identified, speaking of Real Madrid, their defender Antonio Rudiger as a replacement for Christian Romero if he moves on to the Bernabeu. Roberto De Zerbi, we mentioned him getting sacked after getting pounded 5-0 by PSG. Could be open to taking charge at Spurs despite his initial preference to hold out for the Manchester United gig. Frankly, I think all you really need to do is look at the behind the scenes that was shot when he was at Montreal and his behavior outbound toward players there at the time. So that for me would be really A number one, A number two, and B number three of my answer if I wanted Roberto De Zerbi. The answer pretty much is going to be no. Forest is going to make another move for Celtics. A 22-year-old midfielder Arne Engels in the summer since they couldn't sign him in January. Juve and Inter Milan set to go head-to-head for the signing of Spurs keeper Guglielmo Vicario this summer. That's from Gazzetta dello Sport. Manchester United, the front runners among a number of clubs who try to sign Everton's Iliman Ndiaye in the summer, and Newcastle United likely to target Roma's midfielder Lorenzo Pellegrini as they are looking at the prospect of losing Sandro Tonali in the summer. Could be to any one of two clubs that are currently showing interest. And remember our discussion that we were having earlier in the show about Nottingham Forest? Vitor Pereira, according to Anton Tolui and Kirsty Edwards, he has agreed to become the next Nottingham Forest head coach. I hope your direct deposit works every 2 weeks and you get paid everything in full. That if you are sacked or if they are relegated to the championship, that your contract is still paid in full if they decide to let you go. According to our friends at Sky, and this came down about 9:30, final details of the deal still being sorted out. Almost certain he's going to take over. Wolves have been contacted as part of the protocol following his sacking back in November. Saved them from relegation last year. 10-game winless start of the season, saw him lose the gig. Fourth head coach this year. Nuno, Ange, Sean Dyche, now Vitor Pereira. Won the League and Cup double with Olympiacos with Evangelinos Marinakis back in 2015. Okay. I wish you nothing but the best. Wish you nothing but the best. Names attached to Spurs: De Zerbi, Pochettino, and Robbie Keane. And Pochettino, once again, as we have mentioned in the past, has mentioned an interest, but it would only be after the World Cup. So keep an eye out for that. De Zerbi wants to replace Thomas Frank, according to the Eye. Wilson Odobert may have torn his ACL when he hobbled off against Newcastle on Tuesday. That's the four-letter paper. We mentioned Kai Havertz on a muscular injury, set to have a spell out of the team, expected to miss North London Derby on the 22nd. Jack Grealish in the three-letter paper, hit with 6 points and a £1,000 bill after his car ran a red light. Cristiano Ronaldo is going to return to the Al Nassr starting lineup this weekend after ending his 2-match strike, according to the Daily Mirror. And that's your other news and notes this morning. One more story before we wrap things up and head into what Nino Damas has on his mind. I don't know if you saw this, but it's got to do with the lower divisions. And it has to do with a player that is looking for, and of course, what do they do now? They hide the story. Where is it? Where is it? News. Okay, so hang on. So of course you hide the story after you tease it this morning, and you have a player who is suing Crawley Town, and it's not. Where's the story? Come on now, John. You had it, and then of course they disappear. So hang on. Let me see if I can find. Where's my search engine here? Search engine. So, here we go. Okay. QPR and Crawley Town are sued for £11 million by a former player who claims they did not protect him. Amrit Bansal McNulty is making the claim related to alleged racism. The club's denying any wrongdoing in the case being heard at a tribunal. And Bansal McNulty is saying that the lack of protection destroyed his career. Joint defendants with Crawley in a claim currently being held in an employment tribunal brought by the former Northern Ireland U21 International, suing for loss of opportunity and personal injury. Claim based on experiences during the 21-22 season while on loan at Crawley, where he alleged he was racially abused by then-manager John Yems, and we have covered his story in the past. Yems is serving a 3-year ban, longest imposed for discrimination by the FA, after being found guilty of 12 charges using discriminatory language at Crawley. And it is 4 other charges against dismissed, and a case led to the FA successfully appealing to extend his 17-month suspension, as well as challenging findings of the original commission that he was, quote, not a conscious racist. That was the end finding. So hang on just a second. Let's see. And so I'm checking with one of our guests here. So hang on just a second. Let's see. No, I'm trying to make sure that the guest knows what is going on here coming up as when they make their appearance. Okay. All right. So hang on just a second here. Almost done. Almost done. Like I said, I'm just trying to make sure that the guest is comfortable with what's going on. So, okay, almost there. So, sorry to take the momentum out of telling that story, but if I could spell, then I could be sending this email. All right, so there we go. So basically, coach is serving a 3-year ban, longest imposed or discrimination by the FA, 12 charges, while the player, Amrit Bansal McNulty, was there on the roster. And so now Bansal McNulty is now suing for £11 million for the loss of opportunity and personal injury. And the 2 clubs that he's been attached to, Crawley and QPR, are denying they are taking exception to this and denying that is what in fact happened. Bansal McNulty's given evidence to the tribunal along with that coach and several witnesses, including long-serving Academy Director Alex Carroll, former technical directors Les Ferdinand and Chris Ramsey, and the former manager Mark Warburton, for the written submissions made to the tribunal next week. And it's based on the contention QPR and Crawley failed to protect him from abuse by the coach, which he claims led to the end of his professional career, plus psychological damage. Documents submitted claiming for a net award of 6.1, gross figure of 11.1 before tax. And so that is your requested required reading of the day from The Guardian on that particular story. And I'm seeing if there's anything else that I might have missed here. Let's see. Yeah, Tuchel re-signing. We got into that. Why Premier League teams are to blame for boring Arsenal. Arsenal's not boring. I love headlines sometimes. Try to draw you in. Scotty Too Hotty got a win yesterday. Burnley beating Crystal Palace 3-2. And he said that the unbelievable comeback will live with him for a long time, as it should. But like I said, keep an eye on Oliver Glasner. He's going to be there for the remainder of the season, and I don't anticipate that they're going to sack him, considering that that's just going to be the end of it for him, and everything's going to be okay at that point when they try and find somebody who's going to be the new manager at Happy to Be Here FC. I think that pretty much covered it. A lot of the stuff this morning is with Nottingham Forest and their managers, and we do have the final. Let's see how many games. Sean Dyche had 17, Ange had 8, Nuno had 73, Steve Cooper had 108, Chris Hughton had 53, Sabri Lamucci 55, Martin O'Neill 19, and Aitor Karanka had 51. So it ain't looking good. Nuno started the season. Ange had 8. Sean Dyche had 17. It's that time. Hour number two. And we go to Lima, Peru. He's getting hydrated. He's getting ready. He knows what's going on. He's gassed up and ready to go. Yellow. How you doing?
Yellow. Soccer Down Here fans, Nino Torres with you today on this fantastic Thursday. For all of us that are not fans of Alianza Lima, I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. I gotta do it. I gotta do it.
Oh, I know you got to do it. So here is all right. So I have your topics, and we'll get into your topics here in a bit. But I wanted to show something, and I'm going to see if I can get away with sharing a screen and not blowing everything up.
Right.
It was something that you sent, and I'm going to see if I've downloaded it properly. And let's see if I got it here. And that you sent that to me.
All right.
And that is the kind of stuff that Nino is making and making us all 5 pounds heavier by just showing us those kinds of things. That was, I believe that was what your Indian crest, I think was what you referred to that as last week.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah, that just looks absolutely ridiculous. And that's just, man, that is just, I probably could have like 7 or 8 of those.
Now take a look now. I just sent you another pic, Johnny. That's the order for today. Look at that.
Oh, that's 16 of those things that we just showed you. And legitimately, how big are those? I mean, those things look pretty big, man. Those, is that like one person?
I mean, they're like a big.
Okay. So basically go hungry is what you're saying. Okay, I got it. All right, I'm down. All right. Yeah, 5 pounds heavier. I know you. And you're just making me just jealous and everything. Okay, topic number 1. Enough about dessert until later. VAR is a disaster zone in the Liga Uno. If you would please, sir, expound.
So let me ask you this, Johnny. You know the lines that they're drawn for the offsides, right? The blue line is for the defender, and the red line is for the attacker to see if the red line is ahead. I mean, he's offside, right? It's simple, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, how could you just dissect the player in order to draw the line? I mean, you can. I mean, if you draw the line halfway through, it's not going to work, right? It's not going to work. They don't know how to draw the line. It was like half he was on site, but half of a yard. And then they were like, oh, no, he's offside. Like, he's not. Okay, that's one, right? That's one. Then we got a penalty, right? A penalty normally just, defender goes up, the attacker goes up. They go for the ball. You gotta, I mean, you can't in your arms, all right? We're not birds. We gotta spread our arms in order to jump higher, right? So, okay, there was nothing. No, the attacker got up, normal collision. And hey, hold on a second. VAR is calling. I think this is light touch of his monkey over his shoulder. So that's a penalty right there. What? We were winning the game away at 3,000 feet above the sea level. I'm sorry, 10,000 feet above the sea level. And they got the penalty and they got the point. It's just across the board, Johnny. This is probably the most disastrous round in the Liga Uno that I've ever seen, because we have you got every time, every game, every round of the tournament. I mean, it's controversial. Oh, you know what? I think it might be a penalty, it might not. Opinions are divided. But when you got the 99.75% of the people and the referees and the analysts and the commentators and everyone that that's not a penalty, and you believe that is a penalty, you got a problem. After that, the referee association punished the referee for making that bad decision and making the other bad decision in the other game. They've been suspended for the next 2 rounds. But that's not the solution. That's not the solution. You're gonna struggle this. I mean, they know that the course for VAR has been complete by for every single referee. I mean, not all of them are trained to use the VAR. So I mean, everybody's supposed to be trained. Everyone's supposed to be trained, and give the proper training to everyone so they can use the tools that they have available to do their job better. It's not about just punishing. No, you're doing bad. You're not going to referee next game. No, go ahead and set up a training camp and figure it out who is doing well, who's not doing well, who needs another an upgrade, who needs another classes. Maybe, I don't know. Do something like that in order to improve the level. In order to use that tool that is great to use when you use it, when you know how to use it, right?
Yeah, we have maintained here on the network that the older referees that might have lost a step and are slow in response, turn them into exclusive VAR officials, and that way you have the experience going upstairs to the booth. And you can have them as guideposts for all the other officials. And if there are younger officials that just want to do VAR, they don't want to do all the running, they don't want to do all the sweating, they don't want to do all. If you want to take that track, then do that. And I think that way you have 2 examples of specialization where you can be you can be those guideposts, and you can be guides for those next generations of officials. You can either get bumped upstairs if you can still be active. The mind still works, but the wheels don't. Take them upstairs, have them be VAR, and have them be mentors for the younger officials. And if younger officials want to go and they want to start their career that way and do that, then that's fine too. But you've got to have you're getting to the point where you've got to have specialization. You can't just be upstairs, downstairs, upstairs, downstairs. And you've got to know how to use the equipment, and you've got to make sure that you are you know the rules of the game, B, you know the equipment, and see that you can do it the right way. And I think that's a couple of the big things here with VAR these days. And people get so damn mad about it and you got to have time limits too, because the longer, like 2.5 minutes, the longer you go past, then you're looking for something. Don't re-officiate from upstairs. Don't re-officiate from upstairs.
Exactly.
That's
the judgments on the pitch, but you just provide it.
Yeah, that's my rant for the morning, at least for this one. Yes, Alianza and their Copa Libertadores curse.
These people, man. So you gotta laugh, right? But I you can't help it. You can't help it. Anyway, I was all pumped up about their fantastic run from last year. They ousted Boca Juniors. They went all the way from the Fires to stage, and then to make a deep run in the Copa Sudamericana. So they were like, all right, we're Copa ready now. We are Copa, first time ever of business. I mean, we got it. I mean, we are Alianza Lima. All right, we are Alianza Lima. All right. So coach goes out for a while, sits on the bench, 5 starters, and then the 65th minute, 75 minutes, 65th minute, they're like, oh, we're trailing. Oh, Guerrero, get in there. Cantero, get in there. And then desperation. Oh, Jesus, these guys are for real. They're playing for their lives. Yes, they play for their lives. It's the Copa Libertadores. What are you expecting? So they come back here. No, we're going to take care of business in Lima. These guys, they're playing on the home turf. You got to take the plane, and they take a 6-hour bus to get to the stadium. It's small town. It's small town people. They're coming to Lima. We're scaring a little bit on our 10 million population here that we have in Lima, Peru. So, no. They just couldn't do it. They just couldn't do it. And the problem is that because they made significant hires this year, right? They got Girotti, they got the Castillo, they got they're like 4 or 5 players that they signed this year. They spend big money, Johnny. I mean, for our market, they're the rich guys. They're rich. They got money to put down, pay players play at Vincula $90K a month. That's even for MLS, it's a good salary, Johnny. $90K a month. It's not. It's big money, man. It's big money. All right, and Advincula scores a goal, of course, right? And but they're all names. They're not pieces. They're getting together. They're not. The puzzle is not complete. And now, if Pablo Guedes can figure out where to put the pieces, work better for the team as a team. Right now, the players that are signed, glad up by himself. You got a Giroud, got a great job by him. You got the pieces put together and run the same system, run the same ideas, and run and be cohesive. If you are on your own, brother, this is not baseball. All right, it's not baseball. I mean, you're not showing pitch and then you score the home runs by yourself here. You can't do that. All right. So, and big problem also is the Pablo Guedes he was throwing striker after striker. They ended up playing with 4 strikers last night. That's no, it's not about Hail Marys, brother. This is not about Hail Marys, okay? And on top of that, you can't score the goal, and then you let you miss the penalty. You miss the penalty, right? And after the game, Pablo Guerrero says, "You know what? I was like, so Eric Castillo took the penalty and missed it." And I was looking at Pablo Guerrero. I was like, "Why in the world Pablo Guerrero is not taking the penalty?" I was like, I was blaming on the coach, right? I was blaming. How could you not let him take the penalty? Your idol, he's the best player that you have on your team. He's a striker, and he takes penalties for the national team, for his previous clubs, and for every. After the game, press conference, Pablo Guerrero says, "Yeah, you know what? I was not feeling that confident to take that penalty." Ooh, that's the problem right there.
Yeah,
that you got a big problem right there. You got a big problem right there. And then I want to slide in a small story about taking penalties and I know this, I'm trashing the guys from Alianza Lima because I'm from Universitario, but we're breed different. All right, we're breed different. Okay, just a small story from the national team and Alianza and Universitario. We went into a penalty shootout to Australia and we lost it to qualify for Qatar. Remember the dancing guy that was just that goalie from Australia, right? So it was the last penalty to take. And Paulo, no, Paulo, is Miguel Trauco and I think was Zambrano. By the way, those guys are separated from the team because of whatever happened with the goal. in Montevideo. They're like,
Mhm.
"Oh, I'm not gonna take it. You wanna take it? No, I don't know, man. You're gonna take it." And then out of the blue, this guy, Alex Valera, was like, "I'll take it. Going in. I'm gonna take it." He missed it. That's fine, but he took the response chance.
Mhm.
And he's our striker for
Mhm.
Universidad Deportes. We're differently, brother. It's not like we don't feel
Mhm.
confident. I don't care if you don't feel confident. You go ahead and take it. That's what you do.
Man. El Gallo
And Alianza Lima
Norteño.
was ousted again.
Mhm. El Gallo
Let's see.
Norteño.
What are you
The
doing?
Northern Rooster. Club Sportivo Segunda de Mayo.
What is that coming from, brother?
That's their nickname. That's a Club Sportivo Segunda de Mayo. They play in the city of Pedro Juan Caballero.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you were talking.
Oh
Jeez,
no,
that's not.
I'm talking about the folks you lost to. It's they're in the city of Pedro Juan Caballero in Amambay, and that is
Yep.
it is the highest elevated.
You can't take a plane there.
It is the highest elevation city in Paraguay at just over 2,000 feet of sea level. And so, yes, El Gallo Norteño.
Gallo Norteño. Yeah, they're like, I think it's like 200 miles away from Asunción or something. Yeah.
The ground is called the Monumental Rio Parapeti. So that's the name. That's the name of their 25,000 seat stadium, and they got the Duke. They knocked off Alianza Lima with the 1-1 draw last.
And guess what?
What?
They're gonna take next.
Yeah.
Sporting Cristal, and they're gonna win it too. They're gonna beat Cristal too. I'm telling you that right now.
Well, right now
they're
the juice boxes are dead even. Both sides at a plus 150, and the draws a plus 204.
You see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's even, brother. There's not Sporting Cristal is in trouble, brother. Sporting Cristal's in trouble, and these guys are on fire right now. They're on fire.
Never, and look, never mess with El Gallo Norteño. don't mess with that Northern Rooster, man.
Yeah, with the Rooster, brother.
Don't mess with the Northern Rooster. Topic 3. You want to get into my instructions during water breaks? Get a translator. I was waiting for this one.
The Gallo Norteño.
Uh-oh.
Speaking of this, from
mm-hmm. Oh, we're dealing with Lima, Peru. I know it. Oh, from Nino froze on us. But that's what happens when you're in Lima, Peru. Let's see if he's still going here.
So now you got this
water breaks.
Water break.
Yes, water breaks. Hit me.
So the water breaks down. We're good. All right.
Mm-hmm.
The water breaks. So you got the cameras going and everything else, and they go to 2 de Mayo. And the guy was speaking Guarani, brother. They were speaking Guarani. I don't know what they were saying, man. Like, what? What is this? I get into my stuff.
Oh, that's
good luck, brother. Guarani, because I ain't gonna tell you nothing, brother. So that was awesome, man. That was brilliant.
See? You got it. Ledesma was thinking outside the box. He knew there was a hot mic, and so let's come up with a way to talk. And I'm the only one that knows what we know what we're talking about. Everybody else is going to have to
guess. Yeah, that was brilliant, man. That was brilliant, man. I love it.
That's great. Will Cristiano break the 12-year rule in the World Cup? Do I care? I'm tired of CR41, man. I don't want to play because we're not investing enough. You're a point out of first. Oh, God. Uh-huh. Yeah, you better get hydrated.
Real. All right. So this is the there's every time that there's a World Cup, you got the coincidences, the conspiracy theories, what if this happens and this happened before and la la la, right? but right now, this is real. This is a trending topic, and it's a curse. It's a pattern. It's not, I mean, a curse, but I wrote. It's a pattern in the World Cup. In the last since 1994, right? Since 1994, the team that lost the final wins the title 12 years later.
Okay.
1994, Italy loses to penalties
Yeah.
to Brazil, Rose Bowl. 2006, what happened?
Okay.
They won the World
Okay.
Cup. 2002, Germany loses to Brazil.
Okay.
12 years later, in
2014.
Brazil,
Okay.
2014, they win the title.
Okay. Okay.
What
All
happened?
right.
Happened in Brazil.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
2014.
Okay. I've never heard.
Who lost on 2014?
Oh man. Do I need? Do. Oh man.
Is
I am not.
the
I'm not. I'm not.
Argentina to win
I am
the
not picking Portugal. I'm not
Good.
going. I'm not going with your theory, sir. I'm not. I am not going with CR41. That is not going to happen. That is a numerologist delight. That is a numerologist delight. You just sent folks that are numerologists into a frenzy, and they're dancing around the maypole wearing furry clothes and like oversized sweatpants. Man, you have sent them into a frenzy with that.
Right, but I'm saying this, Johnny, don't get mad. I know you don't like Cristiano, but this theory goes winning the 4-1 for Argentina.
Okay, all right.
So that's the thing. So the question is, will Cristiano stop that? Will he say, no, this is my time, my last dance, and it's for me? It's made it for me.
Not happening. Porto dropped points again. The Lions are on the prowl. So I was looking at the standings, and they're on the crawl too. Porto has stumbled in their last two. They've lost. They only got 1 point in their last two after the run that they had. The margin after match week 21 is now only 4 points. Here comes Sporting.
4 points. They're coming. The Lions are coming. And I could watch. I mean, I'm doing, I don't know what I'm doing to get to watch these games, man. It's insane. But somebody hooked me up, and I could watch the game a little bit for the Porto Sporting. Because I wanted to watch it. And I was like, man, when I'm going to watch this game? And I'm like, brother, I hook you up. They made the connections, and I could watch the game. And it was, I mean, I was so pumped up, and the game was really boring. It was boring as hell, man. But then we got 15 minutes of glorious soccer, emotions, and Lucho Suarez scoring again, proving that he was the man to fill the shoes of Victor Gyökeres. That, by the way, nobody talks about Victor Gyökeres now in Arsenal because he can score a single goal he scores a goal every month now. After scoring once every 45 minutes, he's going out once every month. And it's just sad, man. It's sad to see that guy missing that many shots. But anyway, so the thing now is that the defenses win championships, right?
Yeah.
But and then Porto, without a doubt, they have the best defense in the kingdom. But I think it might be different this time. It might be different. They can sustain the lead. Yes, they might. Then they still have to play Sporting. I mean, Benfica. So I don't know. But I feel that Sporting, they like to be the chasers instead of being chased. Usually, because Sporting doesn't do well when they're being chased. They feel the pressure. If Porto, if we were all the way around, right, Porto chasing, I'll give the chances to Porto. But in this case, I'm going to give the chances to Sporting, even though I said Porto was going to win it. 70% of the journalists in Portugal saying predicted that Porto was going to win it. And I was one of the few that I said Sporting was going to win it again, to win the repeat. It might be a chance, Johnny. Might be a chance. Might be a chance. I mean, first, you don't see this team stumble twice in a row, and that might be the little gap that you needed to squeeze in and overtake Porto in the number one spot in the nation. That I think that's who's playing Porto next, Johnny. I don't have it up. Who's playing Porto next?
They're a big favorite. Porto's at Nacional at a -294 on Sunday morning, and Sporting's a big favorite at home against Famalicão.
But wait, they're playing away, right?
Sporting's at home. Porto is at Nacional. Sporting is at home against Famalicão. Yeah, they're both favorites.
Okay.
All
right, Nino Damos. Porto will drop points again.
Okay.
3 games in a row. That's what I'm calling right now.
Draws a plus.
They're not going to lose. They're going to lose. They're going to drop.
Okay, so that's a plus 388. 10:30 on Sunday morning Eastern time. So Porto at Nacional, the draw is a plus 388.
Plus weather permitted, right? Because in the island, it's you don't know if you're going to play or not. The fog, the rain, it could be anything. Anything in Madeira, brother. Anything.
Mm-hmm. All right. Tell me about this goal that you celebrated the most in your life. This is this week's World Cup Chronicles.
World Cup Chronicles. Before, let me see. It was before we qualified for the World Cup in 2018. The last time that we qualified was in 1982. Mm-hmm. So in 86, 90, 94, 98, we had to root for different teams other than Peru, right? Because we were not playing. But in 1990, Colombia got that golden generation, Valderrama, Leonel Alvarez, Freddy Rincon. It was, and of course, led by Pach Maturana. But they got in the group of Germany. Germany ended up winning that World Cup, and the group stage, the run through the finals, they were just not in any prisoners, man. There was a perfect goal scoring machine. It was so hard to find a flaw in that beautiful team that was led by Lothar Matthaus and company. So they were playing the last game of the group stage, and Colombia needed to draw to Germany. They needed a draw to go into the knockout stage. And of course, everything started as predicted, Germany dominating with my boy Pierre Migajita Lidbarski. Boy, that's one of my favorite players of all time during World Cups, Pierre Lidbarski. I love that guy. So he scores a goal, of course. It was a beautiful goal. And Colombia did not give up. Colombia did not give up. All the rhythm, just taking slow, Valderrama here, Leonel Alvarez there, Rincon going up. And by the time it was clicking and ticking and ticking and ticking, and the goal was not coming, but the guys were not going, they were not rushing. They were like, well, no, we're having a coffee, brother. We're having a coffee and arepas. We're not playing ball. We're playing ball, but we're playing ball. I was crazy because I was taking lunch. I gotta go to school, and the game wasn't over. I was like, "Come on, guys, come on! You gotta score! You gotta score!" And then he came and play from Valderrama. Who, you know what? You gotta watch that game. You gotta watch that goal, Johnny. I'm gonna give you that homework for you. Watch that goal afterwards, and you're gonna see the beautiful. That's when you realize that some players have 360-degree view. Yeah, they I don't know how they do it, but Valderrama pushes all the Germans to the left, and he lets alone Freddy Rincon to score the equalizer. You have no idea how screamed that go. I just like, oh my God, I was screaming. I was crying, brother. I was crying because that was our team. Back in the day, it was so crazy with the real qualifiers in CONMEBOL because there were only 4 teams qualify. But now we got the 11 out of 13 that we didn't go, right? And we didn't go. So the World Cup qualifiers in CONMEBOL, they were absolutely crazy, insane, brother. And you got Colombia, you got Argentina, of course, you got Brazil. It was like Argentina, Brazil, and 2 more. That's it. Argentina, Brazil, and 2 more. And then good luck being in Paraguay, good luck being in Colombia, or either way. So it was beautiful. And that World Cup got a lot of good memories from that World Cup in Italy, brother. Italy. And I'm telling you what, as well as I said with Lucho Suarez in 2010, if Lucho would have played that semifinals against the Netherlands, they would go into the finals. It would have taken that World Cup. In 1990, if Canilla would play that final, Argentina would won that cup. If Canilla would have played that game, that final, they would have taken. They would have taken over the Germans, man. I'm telling you. Those are my what if moments and with what if players with Canilla and Lucho Suarez. Yeah.
And that is why we bring you in here on Thursdays to spread the love, spread the knowledge, and spread the desserts and make us all incredibly hungry for everything that you do. Nino the Baker on the IG, the gram, and all the other things, as the kids say. We love you very much, and we will catch up with you next week. And we'll talk about all the things as we always do, and you'll make me jealous of your baking skills. We got to put you on Gold Belly. We've got to put you on Gold Belly so we can have those things shipped here, so we can have them here in the office, man.
You know what? What is it? Gold Belly, right? Gold Belly.
Yeah, Gold Belly. Yeah.
All right, I want to check it out. And I promise I'm not gonna I want to check it out today. And I'm fine.
And then we can get that shipped here. Oh my God, this would be great. If we could get them shipped here and have them for the World Cup.
Oh crap! All right.
So we got about 100 days to figure it out, and then you know what? They could be your World Cups. They could be your World Cups, brother.
Again, like yeah. All right, I like that. I like that thinking, brother.
We're marketing for Nino the Baker and all of everything else that's going on in South America. I love this. Love you very much. We'll catch up with you next week. It's fantastic. Go to Gold Belly. We got to figure this out, man.
All right. Thank you, Johnny. We'll see you next week. Take care.
Oh, man. See, now we've started something. We have started something. Nino the Baker on Gold Belly. Oh, my God. That would be fantastic. Oh, that would be great. Nino the Baker on Gold Belly. We have to make this happen. Because, I mean, you could get like Lou Malnati's pizza and Giordano's pizza from Chicago, and you can have it shipped up by Gold Belly, here. We've done the Masters thing where the golf tournament in Augusta, Georgia, they have the box that you can get, and it's a wait list. But it's got the egg salad and the desserts and everything that you can buy. And we have, when we're not on the waiting list, the opportunity to grab the box, spend the Green Jacket Sunday watching with that food that we pick up on Gold Belly. So we have to make this happen. Nino the Baker on Gold Belly. It could be their first international transaction, I think. I don't think you can do anything. I don't think that they've considered anything outside the United States. We have to make Nino the Baker on Gold Belly happen. We have to. There is no substitute for no here. There is no substitute for the word no. None. We must make this happen. This will be one of our quests this year to make this happen. Have to make it happen. Let's see. So, yeah, eggplant Parmesan, Dave. We're getting into the whole eggplant thing and how I was like, no, I can't. I think somebody tried to do eggplant Parmesan once when I was at an Italian restaurant, and I tried it, and I was like, no, it's not going to happen. David on the NWSL. Now that the NWSL's moved to the FIFA model, no draft, players have the players say in transfers and trades? Are things better or worse? I think it seems things are working pretty well right now. I would agree, because you've got teams that are serious. Washington, we know, is serious. Kansas City is serious. The Long family is showing that they really are. And, this is going to be the next couple of years leading into. I want to see how the league continues to grow as we get toward 31. And U.S. Soccer started making their site visits yesterday. Posted a picture outside the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta training ground. You're getting a lot of big player movement. Keeping Trinity Rodman, obviously huge. Cat Macario in the open market, and there was a discussion. I think Barcelona was interested. Don't think for a second that Bay FC was the name that was being tossed around by Bart Keeler. Players having a say in things, owners that mean business. Looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Catching up with our buddy Niko Moreno coming up here in a sec. Kelly Shouldice from the Northern Super League joining us at the top of the hour. And she'll be in added time talking about years 1 and 2. So that's going to be the fun part coming up here in just a bit. So trying to catch up and find out what the week was like in Major League Soccer. And you've still got the transfers. You got the folks going on behind closed doors, doing all the things. And like I said, I'm intrigued. Once again, this is the disappointing part in all of this, is that you got Coachella that is being streamed, and great TV stations, I think, out in the western part of the U.S. are putting that on their plus or their 0.2s and their 0.3s, so you can watch it. Like if you go to a gray station and you go into the video section, they have tabs with either their national programming or anything local with radars and breaking news and things like that. I think you can do the same thing. I haven't tried it yet. It means I need to, with their Coachella coverage. So go to your favorite local stations in those markets and go and find out where Coachella exists, and if it exists in the video player that's attached to most gray stations. So Tuesday moves. We'll get into Jonathan Perez going from Chivas to Chivas from Nashville. Columbus picking up Nariman Akunzada from Columbus from Karabag. It's a U22. Agustin Anello comes back to the U.S. Philly from Boston River on a transfer. Lucas McNaughton goes to St. Louis City on a free. Juan Manuel Sanabria from Atletico San Luis. That's a big money move for RSL. Adam Sipic, who we have followed from Nashville SC, has been loaned to Bundesliga B-side, Eintracht Braunschweig. And time to do the lightning round with our buddy Niko Moreno. So we bring in Niko here, find out what's going on. Lightning round, brother. We got 20 minutes because Kelly Shouldice from the Northern Super League is going to join us coming up in a bit. So where do you want – actually, I want to start with this. Your conversation with Paul Rothrock. What was that like, sitting down with Paul and hanging out with him? What was the conversation like for you guys?
Well, first of all, how's everybody doing? Excited to be back, of course. Yes, I wasn't necessarily part of that one-on-one conversation because that was more the Sounder of Heart that went to Marbella. But what I did get out of that, which everybody should go and check out, is Sounder of Heart and of Love and Scorches, of course. Mm-hmm. I love that they went more of a personal route. They went more into knowing Paul Rothrock, the player, and some of his interests. And he's just recently engaged. And, all of the things that maybe you don't hear about on an everyday presser or on a regular training day. So I love Paul Rothrock as someone who, if he's going to give you the time to sit down and talk to you, he's going to provide you content. I mean, he's going to give you something to write about, and not forcefully. He's just someone that is pretty open. So you ask the right questions, you get on the right subjects. I mean, he even talked about like where the light rail should go here in the city center. So I don't want to, no spoilers, but you should definitely go check that out. It's a phenomenal interview. But we did get a chance to go back to Providence Swedish to look at the players, look at where the group is at. We had a little bit of a hostile Brian Smetzer after practice. Caught me by surprise. I'm not gonna lie to you, but he is gonna be dealing with a whole lot of games and pressure coming out in this 2026 season. So maybe that's where that animosity is going. But for sure, he was able to let us know that the team is on schedule. I thought that was big. I asked him where the team was at. He said, in his opinion, he's on schedule. He said, give me some games to figure out how well we did in that European camp. But it sounds like the fitness components was there. Some of the concepts that they wanted to really figure out going into this season was taken care of. There are some injuries. He talked about Ryan Saylor, who they just got, Kim Ki-hee, and Stu Hawkins, who I keep wanting to see on the field and just continues to not get his chance for either there's no spot for him at the time or there's some health issues. So neither of those three center backs will be available for the opening of the season per Brian Smetzer. He said maybe shortly thereafter they'll be available. So in terms of depth, because you are going to have Jackson Reagan and Yemer Gomez Andrade, you'll likely get some makeshift, which is a term that he didn't really love. But, makeshift just means a midfielder playing at center back like Alex Roldan has done in the past. And Cody Baker, who during the preseason in Marbella, I thought looked pretty good in that second game of the last preseason game in Marbella. Something that he does well is that ability to be very versatile. And he was actually one of the very few highlights of that second group that lost 3-0. And so definitely some concern there for the Sounders. Center back is a position that you want to have a lot of depth on. And the last season, they had a lot of injuries on, and you saw some Alex Roldan center back, but then you're taking him away from positions where he could be more influential on the field. Other than that, I thought that there was good vibes on the field. The team looks like a team that's ready to go as of right now. Christian Roldan talked to us a little bit. He got to get his little Hollywood moment when he went to the Super Bowl. He got to meet the stars, got to hang out with Guy Fieri and all this thing. So we got to talk to him for a bit, and that was fun. He looks like a guy that also has a big year coming up between what he wants to do, his objectives and his ambitions on the national team level, as well as the Sounders as a club. So overall, good vibes from Providence Swedish this week.
And it's good to know that the Providence and Swedish trophy manufacturing shop and frame store is having good times after coming back from Marbella. I want to get into CONCACAF Champions Cup just a bit. The Triple C, most of it's chalk from what we've been able to see, in the overall. But San Diego FC decided to introduce themselves to Pumas and basically took them out back and brought the belt. And it was 4-2 by the time they were done. So San Diego FC down 1-0, and they put 4 straight on the board at the Murph Dragon before losing, obviously, 1-0 in leg number 2. But San Diego FC makes an early statement. They're going to take on Toluca next, and I cannot wait to see what San Diego FC looks like in Estadio Nemesio Diaz. That's going to be a fun one. And
that's a tough task.
That's going to be a tough one. And you end up with Monterrey knocking off Selaju. Los Super Chivos. We were rooting for Selaju. Don't get me wrong. Cruz Azul tonight should advance over Vancouver. So you're looking at Cruz Azul Monterrey in the next round. You're going to have some matchups that are going to be working their way in. Club America taking care of Olympia. Tigres, no problem with Forge. And coming up around the corner, you mentioned Seattle. They were seeded in, so they kind of watch. Vancouver and Cartagenes. If Vancouver advances after the next 2 legs there, you're going to have Cascadia in the round of 8 with Seattle and Vancouver coming up. But San Diego FC making an early statement. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, look, like always, I find it funny when in this format in this CONCACAF tournament. We make a lot of that first leg. It's like, oh, Tigres, they couldn't score and they were unable. Maybe there's a chance, and no, there wasn't. Second leg, Tigres takes care of business. El Buffalo look excellent with Tigres. I think they're going to be a team to watch throughout this tournament. Club America, yes, they take care of business, but they also have a lot of question marks. They are a team that maybe is not producing to the level that very high expectation fan base has. So it's going to be interesting. I think that Toluca game, that's a tough one for San Diego. Look, I like what San Diego did against Pumas, even in the 1-0 loss. They created a lot of chances. Pellegrino looks dangerous. Godoy is doing Godoy type things. If you're going to do well in a CONCACAF tournament, you need Aníbal Godoy to play great, and he has been playing pretty good. They had some opportunities, couple of shots on the post there for San Diego FC, but defensively, after that, they held their own, right? I mean, Pumas does get that goal, Pedro Vite off of a set piece, but when he came to just active defending, pressing, keeping Pumas away from chance creation areas, and then holding on when you needed to. I thought that they did that well. So San Diego gets a tough task, because I do think Toluca is probably the best team right now in that tournament, considering what they were able to do with El Turco Mohamed last season, the quality of that roster, and the form that they're in. So tough task for San Diego. I don't expect them to go through, but look, Mikey Veras is a guy that he surprised me more than once, and so maybe he can do it. When it comes to that Vancouver potential matchup against the Sounders, that's going to be a lot of fun. I think Vancouver is a team that I'm also ready to see on the field, because they do have some changes. There are some absences in that team that they're going to have to kind of figure out. But I do think that Vancouver in general has a pretty good roster, but mainly a Jasper Sorensen that I'm excited to see him on year 2. And after coming across from a excellent season and doing a lot of great things, putting Vancouver probably at a height that they never had before. So it's going to be an exciting tournament for sure.
Yep. Transactions so far this week, there have been a couple. Jonathan Perez goes to Chivas from Nashville. Good piece of business for them. Doubling their investment. Picked him up for 1.5. Flipped him. I mean, this was a great flipping of a house, because you pick him up in August for 1.5. Less than a year later, you flip him and you get 3 for him, sending him to Chivas. I mean, that is fixer-upper material, man. That is some good stuff there with Jonathan Perez. Juan Manuel Sanabria goes from Atlético San Luis to RSL, dropping on some money there for RSL to bring in Sanabria for the midfield. Agustin Anello comes from Boston River to Philly. Then you have a trade with Montreal and Red Bulls, where Wiki Carmona and Jaquil Marshall-Ruddy are involved. And then we mentioned San Diego. Sneaky pickup here. Jason was high on this one. Bryce Duke got picked up on Monday on a free from CF Montreal to San Diego FC. We've seen what Bryce Duke can do with LAFC, and now he goes to San Diego FC. There's a couple of interesting moves in there from earlier in the week.
Yeah, that's good business. I mean, look, Bryce is the type of player that's going to give you 2 or 3 very particular attributes on the attacking end that you want to have. San Diego seems to be a team that is not in any rush to fill up some of those DP spots. We saw them do it well last season. They have a way of play, a way to approach their system that's working out. And look, I enjoy the fact that you're able to have smart moves rather than splashy moves. That is, my way of seeing the game, popular to some, not popular to others. But San Diego's been able to put together a really good roster, I think, in for the most part. Do they need a little bit more of those big impact players? Absolutely. But this move is a lot like the Lewis Morgan move, where it was just a guy that you were able to bring in, and you were able to not sharpen, but maybe put him in a different way, in a different system, in a different atmosphere where they were going to be able to rise to that occasion. And I think that's going to work out for this San Diego team. RSL low key. I mean, look, another team that is not necessarily getting the big names, but they are adding some really good players. Look, Juan Jose Arias is a good player that they're adding up. They're looking for prospects, and they're going a lot younger. I think Kurt Smith is very underrated on his approach to the game and how good he is at talent recognition and where this team could be going this particular season. I know that there hasn't been always perfect acquisitions, but I do like where they're going in this particular year. So for me, RSL is one of the teams that I'm actually excited to see, just because some of that young talent, or where they're using some of those U22s in younger spots.
Now you're kind of getting toward the end of it. You've got a lot of folks at Coachella. You've got folks on their own wrapping things up when it comes to the preseason. And from your viewing of everyone here in the preseason, as we are now wildly only 9 days away from the beginning of the season here, who are you in the West? Who do you still have concerns about because they haven't either done anything, they've done things that you didn't think they should have done? Yeah, who are you sitting there? Who is, I guess we could do an early round of red light, yellow light, green light for the Western Conference. Let's do that. So red light, yellow light, green light, Western Conference, and you can expand it to MLS if you want. So if we go red light, yellow light, green light, from what you've been able to see so far, transactions, activity, injuries, all of this, what are your early red light, yellow light, green lights? Because next week, we're really talking like game previews and stuff. We're getting into juice boxes next week, which is crazy to think about. But red light, yellow light, green light, what's on your mind?
Look, red light for me has to be San Diego. And I mean, I'm not San Diego, San Jose. I get that they got the big move, and they got the guy that everybody wants to see on the field. And we are hoping that Bruce Arenas can, I think, get another 9. I really do think that Bruce Arenas is going to go back to a 2-forward system. And by losing Chicharango, I do think that the number one move San Jose needs to make is just one more 9 to play next to your big gun, to your big cheese. But to me, I look at that roster and there are just so many holes. I do think that there is a potential for this team to be not a contender necessarily, but one that's going to be battling and making people's lives pretty difficult. They'll be a playoff team, but I mean, I said that last season with probably a much more cohesive squad, but they're the team that I'm a little bit concerned about at this moment. Not using some of those DP spots, losing players that have been so important. They're the team that I'm a little bit concerned about. My yellow light is Austin. Okay. I like Austin's talent, but it feels a lot like last season, where you just bought a whole bunch of players with a lot of potential and a lot of talent. Usuni, there was rumors about him leaving. What happens to that spot? I'm not sure necessarily how you're going to use Facundo Torres. Some of the talent and some of those depth pieces that you got, like Jaden Nelson, how much are you going to put them on the field? How quickly are they going to be able to perform? I think defensively, you still got a lot of questions. He's a young defensive line. They have been poor when it comes to picking up those sort of players to rise in the level of that defense. So they're my yellow light because I like the talent. I like some of the acquisitions, but I just don't quite know exactly where they're going to go from here on out. And obviously, time is up. The window is about to close. The season's about to start. And so how quickly can you get somebody in to really make a difference? I just don't know if it's going to be a situation where your best player is going to be looking around and saying, is this what you brought me for? what do I really have? Is it really going to be Judd next to a guy like a Maribo up top? I mean, you hope that that's not the case. And no disrespect to Judd. I love the player. I think he's a very, producing, low level, just hard working guy, but just not what you want to see up top for San Jose. So, that's the way that goes with San Jose and Austin. That's my red light, yellow light. My green light, that's the tough one for me. That's a tough one for me because the Western Conference is has a lot of question marks. So I like to say San Diego because they're already off to a good start. They also have some holes in their game. I like to say LAFC because I kind of know what they want to do this year. It sounds like with the new player they just got, the Portuguese, why is escaping my mind? I do think that they do have a really decent roster. I think they're going to be a little bit more of a possession-based team rather than they were last season. I do think that Marc Dos Santos is going to give them a little bit more balance in where they're not going to be just a team that wants to play against the run of play in every single game. They're going to have that in their pocket. It's going to be one of their tools. Clearly, you have to runners into such influential players like San and Buanga, but having this new way of playing, maybe a little bit more possession based, is going to be interesting. So I'll go with San Diego with my green light, just because they've been there, done that. They're already in good form. They've shown you what they can do. And I expect Mike Ferris to have this team ready to go when the season, MLS side starts.
Yeah, Stephen Eustachio was who we were trying to think
of. There you go. That's who it was. I think that he is a very underrated move. I had people ask me, why are you really interested in it? I think that for the system that I think Marc Dos Santos is going to put together, you need somebody that controls tempo. And they haven't really had that, since guys like Atuesta left, and even Ilie Sanchez to a certain degree just had that ability to kind of control your midfield, allow you to have a little bit of guy in possession that maybe turns around and holds the ball and eventually puts a through ball and gets those Buangas and those Suns going. So for me, that's an underrated move. And LAFC, regardless of how maybe some of their fan base has looked frustrated because they're not out there trying to get the highest of the most paid players in Europe, as they would like to. I do think that this team is going to have some really, really quality guys. I'm excited to see them play.
All right, Sounder at Heart, Delicatessen, and driver's license approval place, and getting all of our stickers and making sure that we are registered with our automobiles. What's the latest up there? What's going on with Pulso Sports, Sounder at Heart, and Providence in Swedish?
Yeah, so today, look, we're going to be recording a really, really good interview that I've been trying to get with Danny Leyva. He has been playing for Club Necaxa. He's looked really, really good. I'm excited to hear from him about that adaptation to a new team, a new coaching style. He's only been playing as a professional and younger academy with the Sounders. So I'm really curious about that culture change of going to Necaxa, going to Liga MX. He is starting to get what we all wanted from him, and is that respect as a set piece specialist. He had an assist, and he had actually one that got taken back in his last game from set pieces. So I'm really curious about what he's going to say to us. So go ahead and wait for that. That's going to be on Sounder Our Heart for sure. We're going to have what we learned this week on tomorrow. You don't want to miss that one either, because we're going to be at Providence in Swedish. We're going to get to once again hear from some of the players on the field, and we're going to be getting ready for the last preseason game, which will be Sunday after Valentine's Day against Louisville City. And for me this week, I really want to know if Brian Smetzer is going to continue to have this committee type approach towards replacing Obed, because I asked him about Hassani Dotson, and he gave me the runaround about, well, it's not just Hassani, it's Snyder, and maybe I'll drop Albert right next to Christian. And I don't know if I like that very much from Brian, but so this week we're going to be asking him a little bit more about how that's going to play out. And so you don't want to miss that. That's going to be on Friday with Jeremiah Shannon, what we learned this week. And then on Monday, of course, Lobbying Scorchers with Ari Lillenwall on kickoff.
Juice boxes next week, man. This is crazy.
We're getting ready for it. We are getting ready for it. I tell you what. Hey, I was at the parade though yesterday for the Seahawks. That's why I didn't put the lights on, because you are gonna see the tiredness in my face. But now that NFL is gone and the Seahawks are Super Bowl champs, I'm gonna need those juice boxes to come out from MLS side. So yes, we're gonna be getting into that.
I'm looking forward to it. As always, my brother, great to see you. Enjoy cup of coffee 2 heading into number 3. We'll catch up with you next week. We're talking about games, man. We're talking about games. We're not just talking about Providence and Swedish sub shop and oil change. We are talking about games, brother, and I cannot wait. Great to see you, my friend, and we will catch up with you next week.
Yes, sir. Have a good one.
There he goes, Niko Moreno from Sounded Heart and Pulso Sports. He's got the studio rolled up. I cannot believe we're talking games next week. We're talking games. Talking games next week, people. That's going to be fun. All right, we are efforting our next guest, and very, very cool stuff that has just come out from our friends at U.S. Soccer in discussing the 2025 U.S. Soccer Adapt and Thrive Disability Award, celebrating accessibility and inclusion. It now is going local, and so U.S. Soccer announced that Atlanta Amputee Soccer has won Adapt and Thrive's Disability Award for 2025. So very, very cool stuff here local. All right. It is after 11 o'clock. We're going at a time. And this is a league, and this is a group of folks that we have been trying to track down for quite some time. And we now can say that we got Kelly Shouldice dropping in, VP of Brand and Content for the Northern Super League. Kelly, welcome to the Madness on the Morning Show. Thank you for dropping by.
Hi, John. Thanks for having me.
No worries. What part of the planet are you in actually right now? Are you Toronto side? Are you still in Winnipeg side? Or are you in Vancouver? Where are you right now?
I am not only Toronto side, I am in Toronto. So, yeah, the NSL, so the Northern Super League, our league, we don't have a league office. So everybody works remotely, and we have folks at the league office who live basically across the country, and that reflects the teams that we have across the country as well. So yeah, it's a pretty good setup. And although there's a bunch of us who are located in Toronto, and we'll hop into a shared office space just to kind of, get out of the house.
Well, I'm right there with you. Although that when you're trying to get from Pearson to downtown on the QEW, and you end up with morning rush hour happening at 1:30 in the afternoon when you make that big sweeping left-hand turn and you're trying to get into downtown, I can understand why you'd want to work remotely at times.
Yeah, Toronto traffic is a nightmare. That is for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow, my only tip to the listeners is there's this new train that goes directly from Pearson to downtown. You avoid all the traffic, and that's definitely how I get around when I have to travel.
Yes, as it should be. And part of our mandate when it comes to this tournament that is coming up, I don't know if you've heard about it, but there's this world tournament that's happening that's coming up this spring and summer. Part of our mandate has been to talk to all of the folks in the markets with the host city committees and all this kind of stuff. And we've gotten a bit of an education for our listeners and our audience about TTC and handling traffic and all those kinds of things. So we definitely know about infrastructure and all the fun that's attached and everything that's going on. Reason we brought you on was not to talk about the Golden Horseshoe or anything having to do with Bill Barocco or the Maple Leafs not winning Stanley Cup for the longest time and the frustrations at quarterback for the Toronto Argonauts. I wanted to talk about the Northern Super League. And it was something that I thought was long overdue when it comes to the growth of women's soccer here in this hemisphere. What attracted you to the league to be a part of something from the ground up? Because, I mean, your history, I mean, you know what it's like to try to make sure that folks can cram into MTS and make sure that they know what's going on with with our former Atlanta Thrashers. Trust me, there are some of us that still follow the Winnipeg Jets because they are attached to the Thrashers. You know what it means to the Blue Bombers to make sure that that building is full. You come from that background in the CFL, and so you know everything that means something up there in Canada to fans. Why did you hop on to the Northern Super League?
Yeah, well, I have to say, my past career in sports with indeed with the CFL and with the Winnipeg Jets has really helped prep me for the role I'm in right now. I've been really fortunate. I actually am not really a sports person. My background is actually in broadcasting, and I used to be a freelance TV producer, and sort of landed in sports by accident, and have really loved it. But I'm still not your X's and O's person. So after my last two experiences in sports, I knew that if I wanted to stay in sports, that I really wanted to find an opportunity in women's sports. The rise obviously is very appealing to me. But the chance to take everything I've learned and bring it into something brand new was just a challenge I couldn't pass up. And, when I met Diana Matheson, our founder, and learned more about her, I knew who she was just basically from like Olympic storytelling, but learning a bit more about her and how she put together the plans for the league, I was like, I got to hop on this train. I got to be a part of it. And, I have seen so many powerful female athletes and worked so hard that I just thought I got to help out. I got to be a part of this. And it has proven, to be that little engine every single day when times are tough that keeps me going is to help getting women's sports out there. That's really what fuels me. And I watch our players on the pitch and I watch them at practice and I'm just like, yeah, this is all for them. It's all worth it.
6 markets to begin with in year number 1. AFC Toronto pretty much horizon jobbed everybody else, finished 12 points ahead of the rest of the pack. Ottawa, Vancouver, Toronto, Montreal, Calgary, Halifax in year number 1. From your self-feedback, I guess, if you were to look in the mirror, what were some of the biggest lessons in year 1 of this league that you're going to take with you? Because year 2 schedule's already out. Everybody knows what their travel plans are going to be, and they know where they should be and going to places. What are some of the big lessons from year number 1 that you're going to carry with you and that the league is going to carry with itself heading into year 2?
Oh my gosh, we learned so much in season 1. As we were sort of, it's that analogy of fixing the car while you're driving it.
Mm-hmm.
I kept on saying throughout season 1, we are going to be so much smarter this time next year. So there's a bunch of things that we learned that are just basically related to the operation of a sports league and how to be more efficient. But I think the biggest thing is that we really have an opportunity this season to develop more of a one-to-one relationship with our fans, and through various technology and other infrastructure that we're putting in place. We just launched a club and league services department, and to have more of a powerhouse behind our analytics is just going to help us reach fans and grow our fan base in just a more developed and specific way. So, we had some basic information about female sports fandom across Canada and obviously North America, but we really didn't have the chance to walk into a season with specifics about our own audience. So there's so much takeaway and so much that we're building to learn more about them, and that's really going to help us grow our audience. So there's a lot of takeaway there. I think for me on the sort of broadcast and content side, just so many more stories are coming to the forefront, and those are really going to power how we connect with our audience and drive that fandom that much further. There's so many players in our league who've, just have these incredible stories, and so that's a huge opportunity as well is that storytelling, and we're really focused on big, bold, entertaining season, enhancing the broadcast. We're going to have 10 more matches on our linear broadcast this season. So we're really excited about that growth, and really just being able to make it more special, more entertaining, and really highlight this incredible talent on the field.
So you mentioned lessons. I asked about lessons you learned. What were the thoughts that were reinforced about going in. It's like, yeah, we think this, and then the season happens and we were right about this. Were there any of those things that in the process of year one, you were like, yep, we nailed this. We need to build on it, obviously, but we had this pegged right as one of our ideas going into year one?
Well, we knew that the fandom was there. We knew that there was genuinely people interested in women's soccer in the country. And I think, when we looked at our broadcast ratings in the first season, we obviously set really high targets. And the fact that we had so many matches that really reached those targets and some, beyond, if I think about, across our whole regular season, we reached, over 3 million fans across the country. And just for our final, 1.1 million Canadians tuned into that final. And so, that number was bigger than I truly had anticipated. I had high hopes for the final because of everything we were doing to build it up, but was so excited to get that report the following day. And I would say, across the full season, we are on ESPN in the States on ESPN Plus, and we had some really great traction across ESPN Plus. So some of those viewership numbers, we thought we would do well, but we did better than we thought. So that's great. And of course, this means higher targets for the season. I would say that's one of the biggest takeaways from a club to club level. I would say they had some sense of ticket sales, and many of our clubs were really excited by not only memberships, but single tickets. Merch was flying off the shelves. So there's a few big wins on that side as well. Yeah. And I'd say maybe finally, I'd just say in terms of our following on social media, we, when you're starting from scratch, a brand new league, you really have to build up the social following. And so, across TikTok and Instagram and YouTube, we got some great growth there. And it's hard. It's hard when you're starting from scratch. It's hard when you're kicking things off and you don't have a highlight clip to use to tell people what this is going to be. So yeah, some big wins there.
And I know that digital and reaching out into the 21st century fan access has been big with you, dating back to your time in the CFL, where you wanted to have digital components and independent digital programming where folks would be driving themselves to whether it's web or YouTube or social media or what have you. It gives you that extra outlet to make sure that folks can get to, because not everyone is going to be sitting there in front of their OTT device, their big TV or the big 55, as I have off my left shoulder all the time. So having that flexibility and mobility to get the messaging across, that's been with you ever since the CFL. Yeah.
Yeah, truly. Well, that's kind of what I say when I say I'm like not really a sports person, like an X and O's person. I've been so fortunate to have people I work with, like that's your expertise. You're the X and O's, and I'm going to come in to do the storytelling. What's going to grip people and bring people in who aren't, hardcore X's and O's people. So that kind of mindset combined with just, listen, I've done all of the jobs in content production. I've carried a lot of sandbags and hauled a lot of gear. And all of that has set me up to kind of, when I started in these sports roles, to build an in-house production company. And so not having to wait and rely on an agency to execute what we're doing. I know I can find the people, we can do it ourselves, and it can be really, really great. And to find, I've just really benefited from finding a lot of up and coming talent, up and coming content producers, shooter editors, people who are really great at storytelling, bringing them in, giving them a shot, giving them some guidance, and developing the in-house content production team. And so, last year with the NSL, it was a small but mighty team. It was probably a third of what I've had in some of my other roles. But we're adding more power this season to do more storytelling and have a bit more of a freelancer budget as well. So some of the folks who I've worked with in the past are coming into the fold, and we're really emphasizing storytelling. And we have a partnership with YouTube this season, and part of that is going to be some really focused streaming matches, but also we're going to get some great insights on how to grow on that platform. So with these talented people on my team, I'm just so excited for what they're going to come up with in a couple of weeks' time, we have a big media day shoot. So that's on March 9th and 10th here in Toronto. And we invite all of the, about four top players from each of the clubs come in, and we spend 2 days just shooting content, getting really great marketing assets, and using this as a way to story tell about our clubs and about our players. So it's a busy couple of days, but what comes out on the other side is pretty amazing. So yeah, that's what's top of mind for me right now.
What was the coolest story that you didn't know that was introduced to you about NSL players from season 1? What was the coolest one?
Well, I'd say, we take breaks during the international windows, because many of the players in our league are also members of their either the Canadian national team or the national teams from their home countries. And Esther Okoronkwo, who is one of the players on AFC Toronto, she's from Nigeria, went back for international competition, and she was named the number 1 player out of the WAFCON, so Women's African Cup of Nations, top player of that. And I knew basic bio information about all our players before they started. I had not seen Esther play. She certainly started to emerge across the season as a top player, but to see her go back home and get that top honor for me was just an incredible story. So that's a big one. Our Golden Boot winner, DB Pridham, she plays for the Ottawa Rapid. She just like a powerhouse scorer, obviously, but through her time in our league, was able to get an opportunity to be called up to Team Canada as well and participate in an international window as well. And that's really what, part of this league is for, is to give some of the up and coming talent the chance to play, the chance to stay home in Canada, play here, develop, get more eyeballs on them from scouts, and go up to those national team opportunities for Team Canada, but also for their home countries as well.
Another couple of minutes here with Kelly Shouldice, VP brand and content for the NSL. And what are you the most looking forward to with season 2? So schedule releases out. You've got all of your homework from season 1. You've got all of your notes, and I'll apply this question that I ask to new owners of franchises. Let me apply it to you here. I know somewhere in your office, the grand, 35-foot by 35-foot square office that has the long rectangular glass table that has 11 chairs around it where you get to hang on and have your meetings and do everything virtually. I know this office exists for you. I know it's there in the house. When you get everything squared away for season number 2, I know in that office of yours, you have that to-do list. You've got the to-do list for getting ready for season 2. I don't know if it is on, a legal pad like this. If you're old school like me, could be a legal pad, could be the ring-bound notebook like we had in, grade 6 and grade 7 that I still have all my guest stuff on, could be on a Google Doc, could be something, Teams thing, or it could be on one of those big white 6-foot by 8-foot long dry erase boards that has a bunch of squiggles and lines and different colors and everything about, what you've got to do. Where is that to-do list of yours? And what's the next thing you think you can cross off of that to-do list as you get ready for season 2?
John, the to-do list is in all the places you mentioned and about 45 Post-it notes around the fridge. So
there you go. That's it.
It's my goodness, it's so long, and there's, like, I think anybody who's really passionate about their job, they see all the things that could be better and be fixed. So it's a never-ending list, and I keep adding to it literally every minute of the day. I got to go back to, of course, there's all these things strategically that ladder up to the KPIs that we've set for the league for this season. But ultimately, the big overriding theme that we have been saying to ourselves since we launched is, we want to be one of the top 5 leagues in the world. on all fronts, and that means viewership, that means ticket sales. That's the big goal, and part of us, we're saying this season, well, maybe we need to be forget top 5, let's bring that up. Is it top 2? So that's always what's driving everything, is like, how do we do these little fixes to make the machine operate more smoothly so we can do more, but strategically is how is everything laddering up to these KPIs that then ladder up to being one of the top 5 leagues in the world. So there's so much. Maybe just I'd say, in one area of focus for me is broadcast. There was a lot we learned in the first season, and I think we can do even more. We sort of had to tier our broadcast budget, spent the most money on the most eyeballs for our linear matches, and had to pull back a little bit when it came to streaming only games. And that's basically how we were structured. We've got a bit more money to work with. So the chance to elevate every tier of broadcast that we offer, that's a big focus for me right now. And in that, we had some amazing talent on broadcast this season. We had a lot of folks who had experience with our national team to do analysis, a lot of really experienced broadcasters, part of our storytelling. This season, I want to grow our talent pool. I want to see who else who we can bring into the mix. So we're going to just have more people on broadcast to work with and grow that talent pool. So, that's a lot. I can't go into my list. There's too many points on the list. I'm sure my team is going to go insane when they hear that because they know here's the first 90 days, but that doesn't mean that it's not this same number of points for the next 90 days. Top 5. Top 5. Maybe we'll change that to top 2, closer to kickoff at the end of April.
No, I'm right there with you. And I know that when you could bring in folks like the folks that we're familiar with, like an Ashley Docking and Amy Walsh, who's been a guest with us in the past.
Yeah.
You bring in heavyweights like Shireen Ahmed and Andy Petrillo. The new author, Andy Petrillo, by the way.
Yeah, she's got a new book out. Yeah, gosh, I was just so excited. All the women you just mentioned, I was just so thrilled that we had these top tier broadcasters, reporters, analysts to work with this season. Like, we were just so fortunate, and everybody's coming back this season, plus more.
There you go. We love to hear it. Okay, so if you would please,
yep,
cut the promo for us and let everybody know where they can see anything and everything going on with the NSL. They can learn about year 1, heading into year 2. Cut the promo for me. Let everybody know where they can see stuff.
Yeah, sounds good. So if you're in Canada, we haven't released our broadcast schedule yet. We will be releasing that in the next little while. We're just finishing up some of the scheduling pieces. Mm-hmm. But if you go to nsl.ca, you'll be able to check out our schedule, and you'll be able to find broadcast information shortly. Follow us on socials. It's Northern Super League, pretty easy to find. And through that, you'll definitely be able to find out not only consume our content, but find out how to tune in and to watch. In Canada, we're on CBC and TSN in our English broadcast, and Radio-Canada and RDS for French. Mm-hmm. And in the US, we're on ESPN Plus. We kick off the weekend of April 24th. So Friday night is our first match of the season. We're playing all the way through that other big sporting event that's happening in North America. Yeah. And then we wrap up at the end, mid-November.
And so you're 2 months out. You're about 2.5 months out from games meaning stuff. I was glad that we were able to do this, because what we like to do here at the network, we believe one of our tenets is rising tide lifts all boats. And what we wanted to do was catch up with you up there with the NSL to educate everybody about the league and have everybody understand that you're not off over here off to the side. You're a part of the greater landscape, and we wanted to kind of keep an eye on what's going on up there, introduce everybody to the NSL as you're heading into year number 2, and understand that now that you are inside the tent, you're not leaving. So we're going to be dialing back and catching back up and doing progress reports and everything, and especially as you get closer to the season. So thank you for putting up with all 9,000 of my emails and being able to talk about the Northern Super League here with us.
John, thanks so much for the opportunity. I'd love to come back with a camera that works. And yeah, I'd love to check in again as we're closer to kickoff or throughout the season. So I will happily get all of your emails, and I will try my very best to respond in a timely manner.
Choice D, all the above. So before the season, during the season, it's a date. Kelly, thanks for dropping by this morning. Go get some lunch.
Awesome. Thanks, John.
There goes Kelly Shouldice. That's very cool. She is VP Brand and Content for the Northern Super League. And great to catch up with her and be another part of this education that we have about how the game is growing. And it's not just here. It's growing north of the border where they have 6 teams and you have 1.1 million over-the-air viewers for the broadcast of the championship game. Christine Sinclair, Diana Matheson, part of growing the league from ground zero. That's the one question I forgot to ask Kelly, was what it's like to be, or did she ever think of herself as a builder? And being a part of something and being that voice of a non-soccer person and being a part of something that is truly soccer. So you get to bring that other perspective in when it comes to trying to grow something from absolute zero. So that was cool. Okay. That will get us through added time today. Tomorrow, once again, it is fairly normal. See if we can catch up with our friends at Beyond Goals Mentoring. We got a guest bat and leadoff to break down one of the issues of this tournament that's coming up here in about 120 days. And it's something that if we're in a host city, we don't necessarily think about, but in going to other host cities, if we are, it is something to think about. So we'll catch up with and find out about that. Then see if our friends from Beyond Goals can catch up with us and get you ready for the weekend. FA Cup weekend, Creek Cup weekend. We'll talk about Creek Cup as well in hour number 2 tomorrow, about what happened yesterday, happened today, because tomorrow we'll talk about what happened today, but it will be yesterday when we talk about it. So reminder, 555, 755, SDH 1 and 2. Go to soccerdownhere.net and hit the listen tab. From Johns Creek, it is all the SDH, all the SDH 1 broadcasts will be there tonight. It is Dunwoody and Johns Creek girls. That is at Johns Creek at 6 o'clock. 8 o'clock, it is Chattahoochee Carrollton boys, and you'll have Maddie and Drew on the call for those. I'll be at Northview tonight, 6 and 8. It is Kell boys and Campbell. That's at 6. And then after that at 8, it is Campbell girls and Northview girls. So that's the rundown tonight. Soccerdownhere.net/list, and go to the listen tab, and you can catch the games in Creek Cup. Our Creek Cup broadcasting starts in earnest, and it starts about 6.5 hours. So we'll be with you 6.5 hours breaking down everything when it comes to Creek Cup 2026. And it's great to be an official partner with them and let everybody hear what's going on. So it's the beginning of 3 solid days of soccer on the SDH network. We'll be back with the morning show tomorrow at 9:05, breaking down your weekend and getting you prepped for anything and everything going on there as well. So that's your Thursday thoughts. Thanks to Nino driving us crazy. Thanks to Niko with all the intel, because, man, we're talking juice boxes this time next week. And thanks to Kelly Shouldice for dropping by for the education on the Northern Super League. So, as always, thanks to all of you who were here this morning. Thanks to David. Thanks to Abby. Routine Eggplant is not getting any thanks. They're getting blocked. They got blocked. Abby, Ricky, Alex, Pars, David, good morning to all of you. Enjoy your lunch. Back at it again, 9:05 in the morning. We'll break it all down. One more day here this week. Next week, we're doing game previews. Man, can't believe it. But that's cool. All right. That's it for another go-around. Back here in about 21.5 hours, and we'll break it all down again. 5:55, 7:55 tonight, Creek Cup, SDH 1 and 2, on the Listen tab at soccerdownhere.net. For everybody here at SDH, to everybody out there, thanks for dropping by for yet another go-round of Soccer Down Here AM. Since it is the end of the show, that means I get to do this. See you tonight from Johns Creek and from Northview.